www.youtube.com/user/Barnstable County. A public participation guide and meeting documents are available in advance at www.capecod.gov. The County of Barnstable does not discriminate in the administration of its programs or activities on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, disability, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or other category protected by state and federal anti-discrimination laws and regulations. Reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities are available upon request. For more information or to file a complaint, please contact Justina Marchak, Barnstable County ADA Non-Discrimination Coordinator at jmarczak@capecod.gov. Call 508-375-6646 or visit www.capecod.gov. Members of the public may also attend the meeting remotely through Microsoft Teams, and that information is available on the website. Please note that the Standing Committee on Finance may take official action on any item above or any item on the agenda, including votes on recommendations for action by the full Assembly of Delegates. Members of the public may participate at the discretion of the chair. Chair has asked that I do a roll call as well, which I will do now. Deputy Speaker Carl Friesel.
Here.
Delegate Gallagher.
Here.
Vice Chair Killian.
Here.
Delegate O'Malley.
Here.
Chair Omen.
Here.
And I believe we might have had Delegate Fuller on as well. Delegate Fuller is on as well if you need him. So,
yep.
You have a full complement plus an alternate, Mr. Chair. Back to you.
So I've already called this meeting to order, and we've done a roll call. We're going to go. It's a little unusual because this has not officially come to us from the administration yet, but we're going to discuss ordinance, proposed ordinance 2026-20 for the FY. No, I'm sorry, I lied. That's 2026, right? Yeah, that's it. Operation 2026-20 for the FY27 supplemental capital budget. Do we have anybody from the administration that would explain to us what we're doing here? I see Mr. Dutton. Mr. Dutton, would you care to elucidate on what we're doing with this supplemental budget?
Mr. Chair, do you mind for a second? We did discuss this. The Board of Regional Commissioners authorized this ordinance to be introduced at the Assembly on the 19th, and given that we still had some stuff to do that we could do on the resolution, I thought rather than to force this body to meet again in between the 19th and September 2nd, that we might take this opportunity, as long as it's not going to change and the board is going to introduce it on Wednesday the way they've authorized, to do some business ahead of schedule. So
this just gets us ahead of the game. I thank you for elucidating. That was really good. And it's what we want to do. We want to be efficient, and that's why we're asking the board to look at this, the committee to look at this now, so that on the 19th, if we wish, we can take it up and vote on it. So therefore, Mr. Dutton, could you fill us in on this?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. This proposed appropriation funds a pickup truck for Mass TC, otherwise known as Clean Water Center. Their prior truck is a 2012, I believe, and is no longer operable. And so this would simply replace that piece of equipment.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And this is a necessary thing. I see the appropriate people on the call here. So my first and only question is that it has been our practice to not do supplemental budgets. So and we just passed the budget. So is this something that came up in an extraordinary way that we said, we need this right now? I mean, it's the 2012, but why didn't it go through the regular budget process?
So as you could probably surmise, we try to get every ounce of wear and tear out of anything that we purchase, new certainly, and in this case, I believe we just thought it would last one more year before we had to get it on a capital plan. So hence it's in front of you.
Good. That makes sense to me. I see Delegate O'Malley's hand is up.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question. Was an electric vehicle considered for this? Is it available in this size truck? And what would that cost?
That is a good question. I would defer, I see, if it's okay with the chair, I would defer to the department head, Brian Baumgartel.
Thank you for going through the chair. Mr. Baumgartel, please.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Finance.
Can't hear.
We can't hear it.
Can't hear me? There we go. Sorry,
Yeah.
not used to using the headset. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here to just run through this really quick. We did take a brief look at the electric versions of the pickup trucks. This is a Ford. I think we have an F-250 on our list. The Ford Lightning trucks are relatively new in production, and I'm always a little hesitant to jump into the fully electric without having having seen them on the market for a little while. And it's a little bit cost prohibitive right now. I think the next round of purchasing to replace this vehicle 15 years down the road will definitely be a much stronger consideration for a hybrid or electric, but it's just not not the best option at this point for us in the work that we need to do.
Thank you.
sir.
I understand. I understand that, and essentially agree. The payoff time, the ROI on an electric vehicle is long, and we're facing some structural issues. So I think we got to go with price right now. Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Killian, you're next up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up with Delegate O'Malley's comment, my business partner actually had a Ford Lightning for a few months, and he was not impressed with the range on it. They are very expensive at about $80,000, somewhere thereabouts. So I think in terms of how the county approaches, that the internal combustion vehicle is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker Frizzell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to complete the questions on alternatives, is there no hybrid available in this model that's any good?
I'm not aware of. I'm familiar with the fully electric Ford, the Lightning. I don't believe Ford carries a hybrid pickup truck at this point. They're usually limited to smaller, like Toyota Tacoma size, half ton or quarter ton pickups. And we need something a little bit bigger than that at this point for we need to be able to haul materials from the store, et cetera. So, we have a dump truck, which is a Ford F550, which gets about 9 miles to the gallon. So a trip to Home Depot with that truck is definitely not ideal. It's also a pretty big haul into the back of the dump truck for some pieces of plywood. So definitely looking forward to getting this and being able to make those trips. But I think the hybrids are just too small at this point for our needs.
Curious, what do you know what the mileage is? You know how many miles per gallon you get on this thing?
That's a great question. I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I could look it up and submit it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, as the chair, I think this is a pretty straightforward purchase. I hope that the administration realizes that we react quickly to something that's important, even though it's a supplemental. With that, I will, if there are no other questions for the administration, I'll ask for a motion.
Yeah. If I could ask one more quick question, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
The source of funding for this was a little surprising to me. There is a special fund that is within the department that takes current fees that we receive that are going to be enough to provide the money for this? Can that be a little better explained so I can understand that?
Line 16.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know if you want to take that or perhaps Carol would be more appropriate to take that, either one.
I'm happy to explain it. So the test center, MassTC Clean Water Center, has since its inception operated under a special revenue account. So that site, if you're not familiar, and if I certainly invite you to come out and I can give you a tour and a full update on how the whole place works. But so it's a testing facility. The private sector comes to test their technologies, get certifications, and to be there, they pay basically a monthly rental fee. And that fee is set to cover almost all expenses related with the place, with the exception of my salary, because I oversee a lot of different programs. But it covers, electric, gas, internet, all the associated utilities, et cetera, associated with that program, including the staff. And it does generate some, a little bit of revenue in excess of that, which we, kind of keep ready for when we have expenses like this that come up, where we need to replace a truck or a vehicle or something. So, yeah,
So
that's a basic synopsis.
So it will be, there's enough money to pay for this, plus continue to pay the expenses so that the center is revenue neutral, shall we say?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Now, I also noticed two other members of the assembly, Mr. Fuller and Mr. Frederickson, are online. Do you have any questions on this particular supplemental budget request? If not, I'm going to call for, and we can't really, we're going to just call for a vote to recommend this or not recommend this to the full assembly on the 19th. Any,
I was,
No
either of you
comments.
gentlemen?
No comments from Delegate Fuller.
Thank you.
I would move, Mr. Chair, to recommend this to the full assembly approval.
Okay, I
I'll
need a
second.
second to that. Who
I'll second.
is that? Mr. Killing did that. Okay. Is there further discussion on this process? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk. Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Gallagher. Delegate Gallagher, please. You're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll speak up just briefly as the electric vehicle advocate on the assembly. I had a quick look. Ford offers a 150 version, which I think they've actually ended production. So it would be difficult to get a new one. However, used Ford 150s are available for less than $50,000. The used market for EVs is very, very soft all around. I don't know how much interest you have in a used vehicle. I'm sorry, Brian, it's my impression that you didn't really take a hard look at what might be available or whether it would fit your needs. I heard a lot of kind of the cliches about electric vehicles, that they're not well known, you're not familiar. I've been driving an electric vehicle for 5 years and I'm very, very happy with it. My needs are different from yours, I recognize that. And I'm not necessarily going to stand in opposition to this purchase. However, Mr. Dutton in particular, I think it would be great if the county would take a harder look at what EVs have to offer before reflexively saying it doesn't have the range we need, or it would be too hard to learn to drive, or something like that. Okay. So I think EVs deserve serious consideration. I think the used market is soft and prices are very, very good.
Thank you for that
that's
comment.
my comment on this.
Thank you for that comment. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Oof. All right. Deputy Speaker Frizel,
Yes.
Delegate Gallagher,
Yes.
Vice Chair Killian,
Yes.
Delegate O'Malley,
Yes.
Chair Omen.
Yes.
That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and thank you, gentlemen, for that precise assessment of your need. Thank you. Now we have one more thing to discuss, and that's discussion regarding a potential resolution to be submitted to the full Assembly of Delegates by Standing Committee on Finance, recommending guidelines to the Board of Regional Commissioners to be issued to the Regional Administrator for preparation for proposed fiscal year 2028 operating capital budgets under the Home Rule Charter sections 5-2 and 5-6. Who on the committee would like to start this off? I see Delegate O'Malley.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chair, could we have the most recent version put on the screen so we know what we're talking about here?
I would ask the clerk to do that, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Give me a moment to pull that up. You'd think I would have it ready. My apologies.
Okay, I'll try that now. I have a trolley going by.
Uh,
I
Hold
think
on.
okay, you working on that?
I'm just working on putting this up on the screen as the deputy speaker and the chair ask. Give me one more moment to make sure that we've got this ready to go. Can everybody see this now?
Yep.
Yes.
If I might, Mr. Chair, do you want me to just, it wasn't that many changes. Do you want to just scroll down and take a look at the changes that were made from?
Will you,
where we're
yes, since you did the changes and did some very recently, could you show us the changes? I don't think they're redlined, but you can show what they are. And
They
they're
actually,
minor,
they
but
should be.
They are
So
red line.
this is, this
there,
shall
yeah.
was changed to, and all of these, by the way, or recommendations of the administrator, or they are discussions and recommendations by the finance committee members at the last meeting. So this was to soften the language from shall to should. You're giving recommendations to the board, not mandates. This is a change. I think it's the same thing. It's to make the language a little more
Softer.
appropriate given the role of the executive branch and the legislative branch. So that's you. The Assembly recommends the Board of Regional Commissioners direct the administration, right? This was a change that the administrator asked for to more to harmonize more with standard county regional government procedures and policies. So instead of saying within 60 days or giving a day, I believe he recommended September 15th. He also recommended that this 10% be changed to 15% to also harmonize with current regional government policies. So that was that change.
Can I? All right.
Sure.
I just have a grammar issue here that,
There were
doesn't
lots-
seem to read right. To the extent this balance exceeds 15% of the operating budget, the target reserve threshold recommended by the finance director.
Mm-hmm.
And recommend? It
Yeah,
seems like
I
words
think
are
it's
missing.
awkward because of what's in the what's bracketed by the dashes. If anyone's got any suggestions, let's do it now.
Well, I do. That was actually going to be my comment here, is that I have no major issues with any of our recommendations, but we have sliced and diced this thing so many times that there are sentences that don't work. There are sentences that have dangling endings and, they don't work. They just need to be cleaned up. And I
So-
think that's a process, Owen.
Well, if I might, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
Through the chair?
Yes.
my recommendation would be if that's the case, then what I can do with the assistant clerk and maybe the help of some of you is take one more pass at this for readability and send it to all of you to reply that you are essentially to take an electronic poll and to say that you are all fine with the final version that will be given to the assembly. That's really got to be done, by tomorrow morning, because we're going to be considering this as a full body on Wednesday, but I will do that. And so just be on the lookout if that's okay to handle it that way.
I mean, just for instance, Owen, the
Please,
first,
please
No,
raise your hand.
I
Please raise
understand.
Please
Yeah.
raise your hand so I can control the meeting. Thank you. You recognize Delegate O'Malley.
right, okay. I just going to point out that if you look at the first four to five lines, that sentence doesn't hang together. It needs to be reorganized. There's duplicate material in there. It's just a cleanup that we need. And I think the clerk's notion of we can do this is very straightforward. It's really just language.
But your point is it's grammatical, not substantive.
Right.
It's
purely
purely grammatical, not substantive. I have no issues with the document. It just doesn't read right.
Thank you. Delegate Killian, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the question would be that, are we going to vote this as amended, or are we going to get another copy? And then how are we going to vote? I know you said about polling us, but don't we have to vote this out of committee before we can send the final version along?
Mr. Clerk,
Because this is an ordinance and not a resolution, you have a,
No, it's
you
a
have a vote.
resolution.
I'm sorry, other way around. You mean you took a vote to introduce this last time, right? I think
Mhm.
that you're still fine as long as the report with the resolution that's given to the assembly for consideration on Wednesday is the final version of what all of you want. And so my suggestion would be, rather than to try to do this all now, to leave a copy up that everybody on this call can make changes to and suggestions to read it over along with all of you, and to essentially, when it's done, send it to all of you by email for you to reply to say, yes, I am fine with this being the final version. Because the only other way to do this is not to do this Wednesday and to do it another time, which we can do. That's your prerogative, right? We could introduce it on Wednesday and deal with it at the September meeting.
those are the alternatives. Thank you for that. I see Deputy Speaker Frizell, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my preference would be that if we spot some things, like I just spotted, and we focused on this last sentence of the third paragraph, which needs some revision to make it grammatically correct. Seeing as we're only focusing, if that's the case, on grammar and not on substance, then I would prefer that we move forward with this on Wednesday and we just get a cleanup language red line from the clerk, and anyone who's got a problem with that red line can let the clerk know. But if it's grammar, I don't, and not substance, I don't think we should hold it up. That's my view.
I agree with you, frankly, but I'm only one member here. Because if it's substantive, that's one issue, but if it's grammatical, that's a secondary issue. I think it's important to hand this back to the administration so they can look at it and deal with it as they choose. Okay, I mean, that's what I think. The sooner the
Yes.
better. It gives us a heads up on the budget process for 2028, and that's why I would like to move this along. Thank you for that recommendation. Is there any other comments on this?
Is there any other revision we should look at that was made by the clerk?
Actually, let me go down and see. I believe. Ooh, and you guys keep saying made by the clerk. All of these were made by either you or Mr. Dutton.
Well,
I'm just
I understand
described.
I know.
Well,
I'm just saying.
presented by the clerk.
Yes,
How's that?
yes.
Yes.
I did do this work.
A lot of
along with
grammar,
Emma.
a lot of grammatical stuff is going on here today.
So this other step differentials less was a change recommended by the administrator to basically not attempt to tie anyone's hands who's negotiating with unions. And this was a big topic of discussion at the last meeting, and all this is reflected in the minutes and the report from last meeting, which I did send all of you before this one. But there was some discussion about whether to leave in the language about Children's Cove or not. And I believe what the three members of the Finance Committee who were here wanted to do was to change this to like one illustrative example. I believe the administrator brought up the concept that, there are other departments, say cooperative extension, not to pick on another one of our departments, that might not be considered by everyone to be core to the county mission. So there was a sense of, while leaving this language in, to soften it a little bit or to make clear to everybody that that the Children's Cove is not alone, and we're not being, and they're not being singled out, even though that may be the perception. Believe there was other language in here that was in question, but as written in the report and the minutes, Vice Chair Killian suggested that we leave that language the way that it is, rather than continue to adjust it, and leave it to the full assembly to debate whether it should be in there or not. So that's the extent of the changes that I made in between August 10th and today, based on the recommendations of Administrator Dutton and the three Finance Committee members, who I believe were Vice Chair Killian, Deputy Speaker Frizell, and Delegate O'Malley at the last meeting. So,
well, it sounds like there's some consensus among the members of the committee, and I don't hear anything different from the administration online. So, with that, what is your suggestion? Delegate Deputy Speaker Frizel, what is your suggestion next?
My suggestion, if you want a motion, I'm prepared to make one, that we recommend favorable action on the resolution. We will get some cleanup language before Wednesday, but I don't think there's anything at this point where there's a policy question for us to further debate. So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Before we do that, I see that the clerk has his hand up as well.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I could probably take it down. I think that's fine. I mean, there was a vote by the committee to introduce this last time, and we've got, so I mean, a favorable recommendation is fine. After you're done voting, I would like to have a little bit more clarity on the process from here that that all of you would prefer.
Okay. So it is a resolution, so, okay. Deputy Speaker Frizel, you're back up.
Yes, I am, because the reason I'd like another vote is that we're 5 of us today. I think a 5-0 vote before as a report to the full assembly is better than it's a 3-0 vote to the assembly. So that's why I think another vote today of all 5 of us, assuming we all 5 agree, it seems like we will, I think is better.
Oh, that's an admirable thought process. Well, let's see what happens here. If there's no further discussion, Mr. Clerk, would you call a roll and maybe restate exactly what we're voting on?
Sure, Mr. Chair. My understanding is what we're voting on is to recommend that the assembly adopt this resolution.
As revised in this draft, yeah.
Which I think covers introduction, because they can't, it's not an ordinance. They can't vote on a resolution that you recommend without actually having it in front of them. So I think we're okay.
Good.
Yes.
With that, and I see no further hands raised, I'll call for a vote. Mr. Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So that is, again, Deputy Speaker Frizel,
Oh, yes.
Delegate Gallagher,
Yes.
Vice Chair Killian,
Yes.
Delegate O'Malley,
Yes,
Chair Omen.
Yes.
That's everyone, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. That was the last item on the agenda, and I'm grateful to say it was under a 30-minute meeting, and we got exactly done what we should get done. And I thank you for your valuable time for everybody online here. I do appreciate it. I'm glad we solved the issue with the 2026 F-250 Ford. Deputy Speaker Frizel, one other thing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Back to the Ford truck. Just in following up on the comments by Delegate Gallagher, which I think were very appropriate comments. I wonder if going forward, when we have vehicles that are going to be the subject of a capital request, and this, I guess, would be anything supplemental to this budget, as well as the new ones in FY28. Maybe the administration would consider that in coming forward to us, they've explained that they've examined gas only alternatives and explain why, if it's a fuel that's going to be gas only, not a hybrid, not an electric, the reason why we've got to go and stick with that particular model versus the alternative, so that we know the electric or hybrid alternative was at least considered, and there's a reason why it doesn't work, or it does work in some cases, whatever. But I just think that might be helpful if we know that that's part of the process.
Good, and I do note that it's an F-250, and the used vehicle was an F-150, so that's quite a bit of difference of workload for that particular purpose. So I understood that too, and I'm good with that. I saw Delegate Killian's hand up. Did you take it down purposely?
I did. I was going to comment, but I think we should limit the discussion around EVs to another meeting. That's, if we want to put it on the agenda and have a discussion about it, we can do that.
It's a bit far flung. Thank you. Now, are there any further discussions on this resolution? The passage of this resolution by the Finance Committee? Seeing none. Now, Mr. Clerk, could I have a roll call? With all 5 of us.
We already did.
Yeah, that's why
Oh,
it
we did?
confused me for a second. We did have
Oh,
a roll call, right?
I thought we had to do another one because
No.
you wanted all five, and we did.
We
But
did.
we did that.
We
Okay,
did.
so I will now use my chairmanship to call an end to this meeting. And it did go over half an hour now, but that's okay. All right. Thank you for all your help
All right.
and your